Ever find it odd how a race of intelligent beings that knows how to split the atom and has actually set foot on the moon
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
can be so confused and seem to understand so little about this thing we call love? Hi everybody, today I wanted to talk to you about one of the greatest mysteries ever known to mankind of all time, and that is love. Now don't get me wrong here, I'm not by any means claiming to be an expert. What I am claiming is that I have some insight that I believe God has revealed to me through his written word that I wanted to share with you today. And this is about how to find Mr. or Mrs. Right, or as the title says, how to get lucky with the opposite sex. For something that seems to be the most important thing to all of us in all the universe, we seem to know very little about it. Some of us spend our entire lifetimes searching for love, but as the song goes, in all the wrong places. Never to find what our hearts most long for in all the world. It might help you to understand that the theatrical concepts of love that we are showered with constantly from Hollywood does not exist. That is to say, the kind of starry-eyed love where a boy meets girl and at first sight they fall head over heels in love and run off and live happily ever after. That just doesn't exist, my friend. It's a fairy tale. So what is love exactly? Well, let's continue looking at what it's not for a second. Someone might say, well, I know so-and-so and they fell in love at first sight and they lived happily together for the rest of their lives. My response is, that was pure dumb luck. Or maybe divine intervention coupled with real tenacity to stick it out regardless of any of their incompatibilities, but it wasn't the norm. So the question then is, why do so many people seem to describe it as falling in love? Consider the fact that biologically, God designed us to be physically attracted to the opposite sex. You see those flutters you feel when you look at her or maybe look at him, those feelings you have when they look back at you in the same way. That's not love, that's physical, biological attraction, and it's pure natural driven desire, not love. You can practically get the same exact feelings or flutters from just looking at a beautiful woman or handsome man in a magazine. Real love is something that reaches beyond those physical feelings of attraction. It's much deeper, much stronger, and much more enduring than the quickly fading flower of this outward appearance or beauty. To really understand love, we have to look to the one who designed love. God's word says a lot about love. But one thing it never describes is someone falling in love. I wonder why that is. We are commanded to love God with all of our hearts, to love our neighbors, to love our enemies, to love one another. Husbands are commanded to love their wives. Over and over and over, scriptures command us to love. Why would God command us to do something that Hollywood tells us we can't help? Apparently, God's definition of love is far different than the silver screen version. According to God, love is a verb. It is an action that we choose to do, not a noun or some mysterious property we accidentally fall into. In the Hollywood version, two people meet. They have this physical attraction that usually causes them to shack up, which apparently, for some strange reason, statistically, doesn't last very long, does it? Once he wakes up and sees that she actually farts and has morning breath just like him, has to shave her legs, and actually has an opinion that's different from his, those flutters start to fade, don't they? When she discovers he's a real guy and not like those men portrayed on As My Stomach Turns or The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, that he has difficulty talking about his feelings and would rather be watching a Lakers game, her flutters start to dissipate as well, don't they? What's really going on here? It's that they felt the biology at work, but that was all it really was. They discover they really have very little in common, and the relationship ends almost as quickly as it began. At this point, I just really want to stress that it's really up to us to choose who we love. And once we have chosen to invest our love in someone, it is a heartbreak. It's a true heartbreak when it doesn't work out. And I've met so many, particularly women, who have invested in a man that they thought was he was the one. He turned out to be an abuser, to be messed up on alcohol or drugs, or he had some other type of addiction, or he turned out to be an adulterer. He just ran around, and these women, they're just heartbroken, and they can't understand why they keep finding these losers, why they keep investing their heart and their love in these ungodly men that are losers, and they keep having their heart broke. Well, it's because they're choosing to love somebody that's not worthy of their love. And that's the key right there. You have to choose who you love, and if you choose who you love, you have to make sure that they are worthy of your love. Don't go picking a man that's not worthy of your love. Don't go giving your heart to just anybody that comes along and says, "Hey, baby," Use some wisdom. Use some understanding. Spend some time to see what they're really like before you give your heart to them, before you choose to love them. Just because they say, "I really like you, and I'd like to set you up in a condo," and just because they may wine and dine you, got money, you got looks, you got to choose right. And that goes for men also. Don't just fall for the first girl that bats her big long eyelashes and flips her blonde hair, or nice big hot afro. Don't just go falling for the first girl that comes along and that has all the right shapes. You got to choose who you pick. You got to choose who you give your heart to. That's all I'm saying. So how can we possibly know how to make the right choice, the one that lasts? As in any search, it helps to know what you're looking for before you start to look. Some people, they have this notion that finding the real love of their life is something like left to chance or fate or destiny. Or they believe God will divinely bring that person across their path out of the millions of people on the planet. I won't deny that God can do anything, but I have known Christians that have literally waited decades for God to just drop Mr. or Mrs. Right into their laps. Yet the Bible teaches us that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Proverbs 18:22. That tells me that the norm is for us to be engaged in the searching process. We need to know what basic kind of person we want before we even go looking. And then we need to look in the right places where those kinds of people hang out. You would never go fishing in a swimming pool. So why would you go looking for somebody that's not a drunk in a bar? It doesn't make any sense. You should have the basic shopping list, so to speak, already in your mind before you even start out. Does he or she have the same religious views and perspectives as you? Do they have the same kind of morals and values? Do they believe in child rearing the same way as you? And that one right there can be a real deal breaker when you start having children together and one of you believes in spanking while the other one is firmly against it. They have the same work ethics. You wouldn't want to be married to somebody that's lazy and always unemployed, slouching on the couch while you're hard at work every day. Or they have the same political affiliations as you. Some people don't even think that one's important at all, but many quarrels start over something as simple as this. I can't tell you how nice it is to go to the voting booth with my wife knowing that she and I are voting alike. So after you have what I call your basic shopping list in your mind, then you want to start frequenting the places that cater to that kind of person that you're looking for. You're at least more likely to find that kind of person in that kind of atmosphere. If you're looking for somebody that loves God, that's on fire for God, you might want to go to church, Look for somebody sitting on the front row, getting excited about Jesus. And someone that's involved in ministry, that might be where you would go. You wouldn't go to a bar to find somebody that loves God. That's not where they normally hang out, unless they're out there preaching the gospel and passing out tracts in the bar, If you find someone who you feel that physical, biological attraction kicking in, then you can just check and see how they score on your list. If they pass, then you've found someone who is worthy for you to give your love to. And you choose to give your love to that person. You choose somebody to love. And then, as God says, you have found a good thing.